Hey America, how are you? Are you moving to Oklahoma? You want to be away from those big cities, but you'd still like to have paved roads? Or you don't want to live where you're waiting for the stoplight to cycle through 3 times just to get to the main road? Or you want to live in a town where there's still parades on Main Street? If any of these sound like what you're looking for on your move to Oklahoma, then stick around. This video is for you. And I'm going to introduce you to Chandler, Oklahoma. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell to be notified every time I put out a new video. I'm getting direct messages, emails, calls, and texts daily from customers just like you needing real estate help. And as always, if you're relocating to, moving to, or moving within Oklahoma, call me. The agents at Better Homes Garden Real Estate, Paramount, and I are here to help you with your real estate needs. Now, let's learn more about Chandler, Oklahoma. If you are going to have a job, like let's say you're a professor, or maybe you're a doctor, a physician, or anything like that, one of the cool things about Chandler, Oklahoma is it's located smack dab in the middle of Oklahoma City and Tulsa. So right here is Chandler, Oklahoma, and it's literally right in the middle of Tulsa, Oklahoma City down here in the bottom left. So watch this real quick. Chandler, Oklahoma to Oklahoma City. So when I ask Google how long it takes to get from Chandler, Oklahoma to Oklahoma City, it's 46 minutes. Now watch this. Chandler, Oklahoma to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Well, when I did it this morning, it was only 55 minutes. But tonight, apparently it's 1 hour, which I guess isn't really that much different. But it's literally smack dab in the middle of Tulsa and Oklahoma City, which I thought was just amazing. So something to keep in mind if you're a physician, a doctor, a school teacher, if you're going to be working both these markets, the Tulsa market and the Oklahoma City market, it's right smack dab in the middle. Let me check something else out real quick too. Chandler, Oklahoma to Stillwater, Oklahoma, 44 minutes. Chandler, Oklahoma to Shawnee, Oklahoma, 35 minutes. So 35 minutes. So you can hit 4 major cities, as you can see, in an hour when you live in Chandler, Oklahoma. You can hit Tulsa in an hour, Oklahoma City in 48 minutes, Shawnee in 38 minutes, and Stillwater, what did it say, 44 minutes. That's crazy, being right in the middle. Major cities for Oklahoma. Let's go over to our next item. So it was another land run city. It was already established before the land run, of course, but it was built near a park up on a hill where there's also a well, a water well. So that's really important in the Wild Wild West. And then the train brought its tracks through Chandler, Oklahoma. Route 66 brought its road through Chandler, Oklahoma. And the turnpike, when the turnpike came through, it put it on and off ramp in Chandler, Oklahoma. So it's always had really, really good logistics as far as supply chain management with the roads, the railroad track, and the turnpike. So it's always had really great access. And when you're driving in Chandler, Oklahoma, like there's old brick roads. There's old brick roads in the old town. Like it is so cool. The city of Chandler was named after Judge George Chandler, also the assistant secretary of the Interior. The site of Chandler was opened up by land run on September 28, 1891. The town had planned to The town had been planned to be open on September 22nd, the date of the 1891 land run, but the site survey had not been completed. The Chandler Post Office opened up on September 21st, the day before the planned run. When the Oklahoma County A, because it was originally called County, it was later named Lincoln County, was organized, Chandler became the county seat on March 30th, because it's in the middle. Most of your county seats are in the middle of the counties. On March 30th, 1897, a horrible tornado destroyed most of the fledgling town, and it took the lives of 14 different residents. Going on more about the history of Chandler, in 1891, the county government operated out of an office building until the original courthouse was built. The courthouse was later destroyed by that same tornado that we just mentioned in 1897, and a two-story frame building was erected as a temporary courthouse on the present site. If you go to Chandler's courthouse now, it's just a one-story building, and last time I was there, to get into the court clerk's area, like if you're looking up probates or divorce decrees, stuff like that, because sometimes when you deal with real estate, you gotta look that up. Definitely leave all your guns, knives, ammo, everything like that in your vehicle, or actually don't even bring it if you go to the courthouse, because the courthouse also has a lot of inmates there too, and but you can't take any of your weapons into the courthouse section of the county court clerk section. You can't take your guns and ammo into the court clerk section when you're going over the county. So just FYI, there's a metal detector and a deputy sheriff making sure that you don't take any of that stuff in. Going back to the courthouse, it was destroyed in that 1897 tornado, and then they erected a temporary wood frame building, and that building was removed in 1907 to make way for the stone courthouse. The third courthouse, the stone one, was burned on December 23rd, 1967, and the current courthouse was set into its place. So the St. Louis and the Oklahoma City Railroad, later the St. Louis and the San Francisco Railway, also known as the Frisco, built a line through Chandler in 1898. That's great logistics. The railroad enabled Chandler to move its agricultural products as well as bricks, made it the Chandler Brick Company to the market. How cool is that? Chandler had a brick company. Chandler is one of the many cities along the famous Route 66, and it contains numerous attractions and devotees to the Mother Road. These include the Route 66 Interpretive Center, which is an old National Guard building, the Oklahoma Law Enforcement Museum and Hall of Fame. I don't think I've ever seen that. The Lincoln County Museum of Pioneer History. I think I've seen that one. And then several Route 66 themed murals. I think I've only seen one. Newly restored old cottage style Phillips 66 gas station. I've seen that. Can't miss that one. You're like, what is that weird building doing as you drive by it? And one of the last remaining painted barn advertisings of Merrimack Caverns along Route 66, and that's on the lumberyard, I believe. That's what that is on. When you're coming from east to west, you can't miss it. 66 also brought a bunch. The Route 66 also brought a whole bunch of commerce business to Chandler, especially being the county seat. Due to the travelers crossing the state and the country, however, when the Turner Turnpike was built, much of this business died out. You know, I don't know if a bunch of that business died out when the turnpike was put in. This is all information I'm getting from Wikipedia. There's still a lot of businesses in Chandler, but I can't wait to go over the population stats with you. It's gonna blow your mind. Like, it's weird how some of these cities like Chandler and Guthrie, their populations don't really seem to grow. It's really quite interesting. In 1949, the Oklahoma legislature declared Chandler to be the pecan capital of the world. Interesting fact, huh? And in 1958, professional baseball player Bo Fletcher opened up the Chandler baseball camp. For 42 years, the camp hosted campers from around the world for boot camp-like baseball camp during the summers. In 2000, the camp closed due to the death of Tom Fletcher, and that's really sad. I've got a couple buddies. Let me get some water. I got a couple buddies in in real estate that were baseball players, and they tell me about this camp and how fun it was and how much excitement they had at that camp. And it's sad to hear their cool stories, their awesome stories about that camp there in Chandler, and then knowing that it was there but it not being there anymore. And that's kind of sad. I think that happens with a lot of different causes. When the main leader, the main driver of the cause passes away, I think it's sad that cause can't live on. So that's definitely sad. So that's a brief history on Chandler, Oklahoma. It's a land-run town. It was originally called County A. That's quite interesting. It's called Lincoln County now. And of course, Chandler was named the county seat because it's in the physical middle of the county. And the county, let me pull it up real quick. It looks straight up like a rectangle. So look at this right here. See how it's a square? It's a perfect square. Chandler is. How crazy is that? That's pretty crazy. Chandler, Oklahoma's population through years. It's going to blow your mind. Like I was talking about earlier, these small towns, for some reason, their populations never grow. And all I could guess about it is the industry. The industry just must not be there. The jobs just must not be there. Enough driver to keep the people in town. So that's the only thing I can think of is it's the industries not keeping the people. Chandler, Oklahoma's population in the 1900s was around 1,430 people. 1910, 2024. Fast forward to 2019. This is from Wikipedia. 3,085 people. So in a century and 20 years, the population in Chandler has doubled. How does Chandler, Oklahoma vote throughout the years? Chandler, Oklahoma, according to Ballotpedia, votes Republican. So just FYI, I know that that's important to people nowadays, knowing where the cities stand on their rights of the people. So that's good info to know. Let's go over to our next item. Things to do in Chandler, Oklahoma. So I've got a lot more experience with this. So just walking Main Street. I had an office in Chandler, Oklahoma for a brief period, and then my wife and I started having children. So to cut expenses, we let the physical office location go. And at the same time, the National Association of Realtors opened up MLS Choice. So I was able to go back to my old office and still have access to both the MLSs that I needed while living in Lincoln County. So just walking Main Street. I would walk down to Boomerang, get a burger, and then I would just walk up and down the sidewalks. I mean, it is such a cool town. Like when I would jog from my office there in Chandler over to the gym, it was an awesome jog. It's very, very hilly, just very hilly. It's so crazy, and you're jogging down old brick roads. You know, Chandler was established in 1891. I mean, those are some old brick roads. It's really cool, and it has really, really decorative bridges going over the train tracks on some streets. And then some streets, of course, you drive down on the train tracks. The train tracks is like in this cavern-like area between the two giant hills. It's totally cool. You're gonna love it. Bell Cow Lake, used to drive by that every day when I lived over in Kearney, and it's a beautiful little lake. They hold the Tabernacle Feast out there. Lion Lamps holds Tabernacle Feast out there at Bell Cow Lake. And it's just a really, really awesome campsite, really, really awesome lake. There's 1, 2, three. There's like three main parts off the road to do camping. Four. There's four. And there's probably more than that too. Like I haven't hit every single one of them, but there's trails to go hiking. I think you could take your bicycles on those trails too. And yeah, Bell Cow Lake, really awesome lake. The city of Chandler has a whole bunch of parks. Tillman Park, he was one of the original lawmen that was a U.S. Marshal and then also a sheriff there in Chandler. Great background story on him. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. So straight from the city of Chandler's page. Okay, so we're talking about the parks of Chandler, Oklahoma. And one of the main parks that you think of right away is Tillman Park. Tillman Park. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, not butchering it. But as you're coming into Chandler from the west and you're going westward, right at the farm center, the Lincoln County Farm Center, you could go north. Joe Long Drive. On Joe Long Drive, you can go north, and it takes you through this beautiful park. I mean, it's got all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's right by the high school. Even it's got the public works barn. It's just this great drive. Like when you drive through Chandler, Oklahoma, don't just drive on Route 66. Definitely take off on Joe Long Drive. Take off on Joe Long Drive and just enjoy the park. Enjoy the scenery there in Chandler, Oklahoma. It's a beautiful park. Plain and simple, beautiful park. Tillman Drive Park. And Tillman was one of the, at 19, according to the Chandler website, at 19, he was a professional buffalo hunter. Now that's kind of a bad thing because the U.S. government hired people to kill out the buffalo, to basically kill out the Indian, because that was their main food source. But this kid was 19, professional buffalo hunter, and then at 24, he was undersheriff for Bat Masterson. 6 years later, he became the marshal for Dodge City, Kansas, and he helped clear the streets of Guthrie, Oklahoma during the first Oklahoma land run in 1889. Later, Tillman, the guy the park was named after, later he claimed a homestead near Chandler in the second land run of 1891 for former Sac-Fox lands, which became Lincoln County. He was then appointed the Deputy U.S. Marshal, and he served as Marshal of Perry, Oklahoma, which is way north, to contend with the problems of its Hell's Half Acre. Whoa, we'll have to check into that. Back home in Chandler, he raised fine racehorses at his homestead farm, and he was the city marshal. Then he was a state senator, followed by becoming the Oklahoma City's police chief in 1911. The peaceful arrest of outlaw Bill Doolin was the most famous of Bill Tillman's long career. Tillman and his friend U.S. Marshal Heck Thomas and Chris Madsen were known as Oklahoma's three guardsmen. So that's quite interesting. And that's who the park was named after. So other parks, that's not the only park in Chandler. There's several parks in Chandler. So you've got Little Rainbow Park following it east, not west. If you continue following it east, you're going to go past the auto detail shop on 66. Great guys there that do that work. The fire department, the Chandler Fire Department, you're going to go by there. And then Rainbow Park splits in half. Really weird. But on the northeast side of Rainbow Park, you're going to have the splash pad. You're going to have, which is awesome. They've got little kids' toys, stuff like that. It looks like they've got a little baseball diamond too, which is really cool. And then you've got the Chandler pool. And that place is always busy during the summer. And then it looks like on the other side of Rainbow Park, that's what that is. Yes. That makes complete sense now. Because on the Rainbow Park's a square, but Route 66 cuts at that driving area. It cuts that square in half. So the other part is another baseball diamond, the Route 66 Interpretive Center, which is the old National Guard Armory. And you've got a baseball diamond right there, and the Chandler Fire Department. Okay, that is awesome. That is awesome. So those are the two main parks right off the top of my head. So right across from the apartments is Indian Springs Park, which is great because you need to have a place to let all the kids play. So those are the three main parks that I can think of off the top of my head. Now, look, if you're from Chandler and you're watching this video, don't get mad at me that I don't know every single park. Like, I've had people like leave really mean comments that I forgot a park or said something wrong. I'm just trying to give you info so you have more info when you move here, because Chandler is a great little town, especially if you're going to be working, in Tulsa and Oklahoma City, because it's right in the middle. Don't forget that. And if you're going to be working in the middle of Stillwater and Shawnee too, like, Chandler is a great option. And that's why I wanted to get this video out to you guys that are moving here, so you can have more options on the on what you could do. Chandler also has the municipal golf course. We're talking about things to do. You're outside. Chandler has the municipal golf course, and they have the county fair down the Lincoln County Fairgrounds Center. And then, of course, the Route 66 Interpretive Center that I just talked about, that's over by Rainbow Park. It's old National Guard. It's an old National Guard building. It's made out of local sandstone and rock. It's really, really cool. You can't miss it at all. And now it's museum / convention centers. Let's say you drove out to Chandler and you've been looking at everything that I've been talking about. We've been looking at houses together, and it's like, Josh, I need a break for lunch. And I'm like, I planned that. I planned a break for lunch. So whenever we're looking at houses, we definitely want to take a break for lunch. I love the Mexican restaurant in Chandler. And then Boomerangs is another great place. Giorgio's Pizza. There's a new place called Destinations. I've got to go try it out. And then, of course, Manville Avenue Coffee Company right next to the title company. I like going to that place too. So there's a lot of good places to eat in Chandler. If you don't have time, if you don't have an hour and a half to kill while you're in Chandler, then you could also look at and you're there in the morning time, you can get the donuts at the Chandler Bakery right across from the vet, right across from the cool automotive place. You can stop at the Sonic Drive-In, all throughout the day. The Taco Mayo across the street from the On Q and the O'Reilly's. And also, we've got a McDonald's. There's a McDonald's in Chandler. I can't eat there because I'm old and overweight now, but there is a McDonald's in Chandler. And of course, a Subway. There's a Subway too. So Subway's right by Atwoods. So that's a good place. So we talked about the history of Chandler. We talked about the benefits of the location of Chandler. We talked about the different recreational things to do in Chandler, like Cow Lake and all the different parks. We talked about the county fairgrounds. Talked about places to eat in Chandler. Now you're thinking, okay, this is great, but what about like regular grocery shopping? What about hardware store stuff? Things of that nature. Well, Chandler's got you covered. I mean, how people I've never heard this in person. I've seen it on movies where they're like, I've never left the island. When New Yorkers talk about New York and stuff like that, I've never left the island. Well, you don't ever have to leave Chandler if you don't want to. They've got everything that you actually need right there in the city of Chandler. So for grocery shopping, you've got the Walmart Supercenter that's just east of town, over there by the Dodge dealership. And then you've also got a Williams Food right next to the Atwoods. So you got two different grocery stores in Chandler. If you need to do some home maintenance or stuff like that, you've got the Atwoods. You got in the Chandler Hardware Store, just right there on Manville, just right across from the courthouse. And then, of course, you've also got the Lincoln County Farm Center, which is right at the south. You got the Lincoln County Farm Center. I've bought so many T-post and wires from that place. That's where I get all my steel equipment taken care of. My chainsaw, my weed eater. I put them there at the Lincoln County Farm Center. So you don't have to leave Chandler. You don't have to drive 45 minutes to get to Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that to be able to take care of your property. Chandler has everything that you need. You want to go buy some great used guns or new guns or used mowers, things like that. We've got the Route 66 Pawn in Chandler, Oklahoma. It's just located on the west side of Chandler, Oklahoma. And then if you want to do your own auto repair, I don't do that. I take my cars to the dealers to get that stuff done. But if you're the type of person that wants to do your own auto repair, you got the Napa, and you've got the O'Reilly's in town where you can buy your parts there. And then also, if you're like me and you have other people work on your car, there's Ken's Auto. There's the Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts. Oh, that Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts is off of Manville, right next to the Legacy Cleaners. That's right, Legacy Cleaners. So if you want to get your clothes cleaned, you can just drop it off at the Legacy Cleaner. And then we also have the Chandler Tire Center, which is located on the north side of town, right off the turnpike on the east side, right off the turnpike on the east side of the road. You've got the Chandler Tire Center, just south of the Ford dealer, and then just north of the Ford repair maintenance facility. So there's a ton of stuff in Chandler. You actually don't have to leave. And if you want to buy some brand new tractors or buy some brand new mowers or you need a trailer, they just built a 5.7 equipment store. A 5.7 equipment store. You could get Sparta zero turns or some TYM tractors, and they look awesome. I love those little compact tractors with the industrial tires on them. They look all manly and cool, but they're not like huge. But I really like those little subcompact tractors with the industrial tires on them. And I know some people want the turf. Is that what they're called? Turf tires on them? But that's, if you're going to get a subcompact tractor, I think it needs the industrial tires. I definitely do. That's just me. So as you can see, there's tons of stores and tons of things in Chandler that you don't actually ever have to leave if you don't want to. Let's talk about housing in Chandler. Okay, when you're talking about Chandler, Oklahoma housing data, now this is all price ranges, and then let's go over to average. So as you can see, the prices in Chandler, and this is over 3 years, okay, with a monthly comparison. So looking at the last 3 years, back in January 2018, the average sales price for a Chandler property was $132,780. So in March of 2020 is kind of when stuff started going weird because of the COVID here in Oklahoma. And you can see that Chandler, it really didn't change much. Like the same graph looks the same, except over here you got this giant spike. Sales price was $374,718 for March 2021. Well, let's look at how many closed sales were in March of 2021. 8. So 8. Okay, looks like I stand corrected. That's pretty average. So it had an average of 8 sales in March of 2021 with the average sales price of $374,718. Something big sold. Let's see what the median is. Median 278, 179, 149. See, this line right down here is going to be your total average. So wow, that something big sold to make that average and that median jump up so high. That's crazy. So closed sales, as you can see, on average, Chandler every month has about 8 closed sales. And then these were the beginning of the COVID months of 2020. So the sales really dropped off there. But at the same time too, Chandler's had some months in the past where there's just been, one or two sells. So this wasn't too much to the market, because the market, remember, you're talking about a county of 34,000 people and a city of a little over 3,000 people. So to have 8 cells for 3,000 people when 62% of Americans are homeowners, the numbers are all pretty level. So Chandler has some pretty level housing stats. So price per square foot on average in Chandler right now is $131. The month before that it was $67. We've got a 91 and a 110. So if I were to take this and just do a rolling 12 month, I'd be around $90 square foot. So it looks like it's gone up to the $90 square foot when you do a 12-month rolling. So yeah, even a 3-month rolling, you're looking around the same data right there. So, okay, good to know. And then if you have a home to sell in Chandler, you can expect about 8 showings, 8 to 6 showings to contract. So February, those houses had on median 2.5 showings to contract, and then March 6.6 showings to contract. So if you're selling a house in Chandler, Oklahoma, and you've had more than 6.6 showings or more than 10 showings, then the house either needs to have some work done to it or there needs to be a price adjustment. So just FYI, something to keep in mind. So when you're looking at month supply of inventory in Chandler, yeah, it's minimal, but it's been minimal for years. Let's get that switched over for you. So back in 2018, the month supply of inventory was 5.3. So it's gone down in half since the pandemic. So it looks like we have 3 months and a little less than 2 months, and 2 months and a little less than a month. So in March, there's a little less than a month of real estate inventory on the market. So something to keep in mind. So let's go over to so that's the housing data for Chandler, Oklahoma. Hope you find that helpful. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and that thumbs up really helps out getting this video to more people who are moving to Oklahoma so they can learn more about Oklahoma. So that thumbs up is much appreciated. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Schools are very important. Whether you have kids or not, you want to know about the schools because the schools help the resale value. So there are 4 schools in Chandler, Oklahoma. There's 2 elementary schools. They go from pre-K to 2nd grade. The 2nd elementary school goes from 3rd grade to 6th grade, and the middle school goes from 7th grade to 9th grade. Yes, 7th grade to 9th grade, and then the high school has grades 10, 11, and 12. So let me get that pulled up for you real quick. You have Eastside Elementary, which is pre-K to 2nd. You've got Park Road Elementary, 3rd grade to 6th. You've got the junior high from 7th to 9th, and you've got the high school from 10th to 12th. Another great resource that I always point customers to is greatschools.org. Park Road Elementary is rated 6 out of 10. Chandler Junior High is a 5 out of 10, and Chandler High School is a 9 out of 10. Chandler High School being a 10, that's awesome. Was it a 10 or was it a 9? 9. It was a 9, so that's awesome. And I'm always seeing stuff on their sports. They got really great activities, the high school. So in the spring for high school, they've got high school baseball, golf, they've got slow pitch softball, and they've got track. So Chandler definitely has some great activities for your kiddos to do during the spring. And then let me see if I can get the fall events real quick. I'm sure fall events are football and wrestling. God, I want to give you so much more. I just feel like I'm really lacking. My children aren't school-age children, so I don't have a lot of insight when it comes to the schools. Activities that you find in the Chandler Public Schools are things like 4-H, archery, art, band, choir, drama, FFA, National Honor Society, and OKSSSP. That's the Oklahoma Scholastic Shooting Sports Program. That's cool. It's a Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, and it teaches wildlife conservation and shotgun training to the kids. You know you're living in Oklahoma, America, when your kids are part of the Oklahoma Scholastic Shooting Sports Program. That's awesome. Guys, I can't think of a better thing to end this video on today. There's so much about Chandler, Oklahoma that I just can't fit in one video. If you're moving to, relocating to, or moving within Oklahoma and you want to go look at some houses, give me a call. The agents at Better Homes Garden, Real Estate Paramount, and I are here to help you with all your real estate needs. And give the video a big thumbs up. Share with all your friends that are moving here too. Who knows? We could be neighbors. All right, guys. Josh Barnett. See you on the next video. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on my next video.